Claim number 19. Synthetic oil lasts forever. Let's clear this up. No oil lasts forever, and that includes synthetic. Engines are harsh environments, and even the best oil wears out. I've seen engines filled with thick black sludge because the owner insisted their synthetic oil was still fine. The reality? Synthetic oil outperforms conventional stuff. It withstands breakdown, resists sludge, and maintains stability under heat. But it's not invincible. Every mile, it picks up dirt, fuel residue, and metal shavings. Bad oil smells acrid and burnt. Fresh synthetic feels slippery, but used oil turns thin and gritty. Want to see for yourself? Warm up your engine, shut it off, wait 30 seconds, then check the dipstick. Wipe, re-dip, and inspect the color. If it's dark brown or black and smells burnt, it's time for a change. Verdict: total myth. Nothing, not even synthetic oil, is eternal. And this connects with another piece of advice you rarely hear at the quick lube shop. Claim number 18. Once you use synthetic, you can't go back. This myth refuses to die, but it's flat out false. I've swapped synthetic for conventional from one oil change to the next. No issues. Engines don't get hooked on one kind of oil. What matters is viscosity and the manufacturer's specs. If your manual says 5W30, use 5W30, regardless of whether it's synthetic, blend, or conventional. Always check for the API donut and ILSAC starburst on the label. That's how you know it's up to standard. I've calmed plenty of drivers who panicked when their oils were mixed at a quick lube. The car won't explode. At worst, you lose out on synthetic's benefits. Just pick one type and stick with it next time. Verdict: myth. You can switch anytime. The engine doesn't care. But with older cars, there's a twist that makes some owners nervous. Claim number 17. Synthetic oil causes leaks in old engines. I've heard this for years. Here's the truth. Synthetic oil doesn't create leaks. It exposes them. Older engines often have tired, shrunken seals and gaskets. Conventional oil leaves sticky deposits that can hide leaks, while synthetics detergents clean that away. Suddenly, those old, brittle seals are exposed, and you might notice oil spots. I remember a customer with an old Chevy blaming synthetic for a leak. Nope. The seals were already hard and cracked. The oil just revealed the issue. If you're switching an old engine to synthetic, wipe around the gaskets first and check for wetness or buildup. If it's brittle or seeping oil, be prepared for leaks after cleaning up. Verdict: partly true. Synthetic shows leaks that were already there, which brings us to a cold weather tip many drivers overlook. Claim number 16. Synthetic oil protects better during cold starts. This one's absolutely true. Cold starts are where most engine wear happens, since thick oil can't reach critical parts quickly. Synthetic flows much better at low temps. For instance, 0W20 synthetic pumps faster on a cold morning than 5W30 conventional, safeguarding bearings and cam lobes from dry friction. I've started engines in below zero temps where conventional oil made them groan, but synthetic kept things spinning smoothly. To test it, try this yourself. On a cold day, check the dipstick and feel the oil. Synthetic stays smooth, while conventional gets thick and sticky. But remember, even with synthetic, the first seconds after a cold start are crucial. Most people don't realize the common mistakes made in those moments. Want to know more? Click the link above for a full breakdown. Verdict: true. Synthetic flows quicker when it's cold. But what about when the engine gets hot? That's where synthetic faces another challenge. Claim number 15. Synthetic oil handles high heat better. That's completely accurate. Heat is oil's biggest enemy. I've seen conventional oil turn to tar after heavy use in hot weather. Synthetic, on the other hand, holds up impressively to high temperatures. The molecules in synthetic oil are more uniform, so they don't burn off as easily. Conventional oil breaks down between 250–275 degrees Celsius, while synthetic can handle 300 degrees Celsius or more, sometimes up to 450 degrees Celsius in special blends. That's why turbocharged engines and heavy-duty trucks rely on it. After a hard run, synthetic still pours clean, while conventional comes out thin and burnt. Thin oil can ruin bearings and turbos. if you tow, race, or deal with extreme heat. Synthetic is your ally. Always use the viscosity your manual recommends. Don't guess. Verdict: true. Synthetic survives heat that destroys conventional oil, but don't let that tempt you into stretching your oil changes too far. Claim number 14. Synthetic oil lets you go longer between changes. I get the appeal. Synthetic does last longer. It stays thick, resists sludge, and handles heat. But here's the catch. Filters, additives, and contaminants don't last forever. Every mile, fuel, moisture, and metal particles contaminate the oil. Filters can only hold so much before they clog. Once full, dirty oil goes straight through your engine. I've seen filters packed so tight they rattle. Manufacturer intervals exist for a reason, usually 5,000 to 7,500 miles, maybe 10,000 for top-tier oil and filters. Push past that, and you risk sludge and wear you can't undo. If you're curious, send your oil to a lab to test it. For most drivers, stick to the recommended schedule. Verdict: myth. The oil filter and contaminants still set the limit. Next, let's look at the claim that sounds great for your wallet, but doesn't always deliver. Claim number 13. Synthetic oil boosts fuel economy. There's a little truth here. Synthetic is slicker, which means less friction and, in theory, better mileage. But don't get your hopes up. The improvement is usually just 1–2%, which is about half a mile per gallon on a typical car. I once had a customer claim a 5 mpg jump after switching to synthetic, but he'd also aired up his tires. That made the real difference. Thin synthetics like 0W20 reduce drag, and manufacturers use them to meet fuel economy standards. But always follow your manual. Using oil that's too thin can cause harm. Verdict: mostly true, but the improvement is minor. Now, what about the idea that all synthetic oils are basically the same? Claim number 12. All synthetic oils are identical. Not even close. Synthetics differ in their base stocks and additive packages. Some are designed for longer life, others for high heat endurance, and some for maximum fuel efficiency. The label might say synthetic, but the formula can vary a lot. I've seen engines run rough after using discount synthetic that didn't meet the right spec. Switching to the proper, manufacturer-approved oil fixed it. Always check for the API service symbol and make sure it matches your car's spec. Stick to the viscosity recommended in your manual, so one bottle of synthetic doesn't equal another, and using the wrong one can cause problems. Want to know which oils to avoid? Click the link above for my video. Verdict: myth. Specs and additives make all the difference. But what about running cooler? Can synthetic oil help there? Claim. Number 11. Synthetic oil makes engines run cooler. It sounds good, but it's not the whole story. Oil isn't what controls coolant temperature. That's your thermostat, radiator, and fans. What synthetic does better is resist thinning and keep friction down inside the engine, reducing hot spots and moving parts. That can slightly reduce local temperatures, but don't expect your dashboard gauge to drop. I've had customers switch to synthetic hoping their car would run cooler, but if the cooling system is failing, it won't help. However, engines that use synthetic stay cleaner and show less heat damage over time. If your car runs hot, check the coolant system first. But know that synthetic will give you extra protection if things get really hot. Verdict: partially true. Reduces friction, but not coolant temperature. And next, we'll tackle the argument about synthetic blends versus full synthetic. Stay tuned.